right, we're gonna see. See if we have anybody connecting today. Not sure. I'm trying out StreamYard. It usually doesn't work with me very well. So if you can hear me, please let me know. You can leave a comment or something, just letting me know that you can see me. Es Natalie de Dreamers Together. Buenas noches a toda mi gente. Perdón por el live tan tarde. Se me hace un poquito más fácil la tarde y veo casi nunca hacemos lives en las noches para mi gente que está al lado oeste de los Estados Unidos. So, mi gente de California. Espero que estén aquí conectados. Creo que por allá son como las 6 de la tarde. I think it's about 6 p.m. to my California people. Figured I would do a later live for you guys in California, see if you can connect. If you have any questions, please feel free to post any questions. This is Natalie, con Dreamers Together. We can talk about anything today. We have adjustment of status. We can talk a little bit about AP. I mostly do adjustment of status, but I'm very, very well versed in advanced parole as well. So please let me know if you have any questions. Hi, María. Hola, María. Parece que nos está viendo de YouTube. Podemos hablar un poquito de cualquiera de los dos, de las dos aplicaciones más comunes para DACA o Advanced Parole, o también si tienen preguntas sobre ajuste de estatus, también podemos hablar sobre eso. También parece que tenemos otra, María Leiva, watching us from YouTube también. Buenas noches, Tony. Gracias por estar mirando el live. Solo estoy esperando a ver si entran algunos comentarios, alguien que necesite o tenga alguna preguntita que le podamos ayudar hoy. Déjenme saber. Voy a estar aquí. Si no hay preguntas y no necesitan ninguna información, me salgo y lo dejamos para otro día. A lo mejor es un poquito muy tarde. Yo sé que es tarde para mi gente del East Coast, pero sé que mi gente de California no está muy tarde para ustedes. Creo que están o llegando a casa del trabajo o preparándose para la cena. So let me know if you have any questions. Ok, tenemos una pregunta de María Anaya de YouTube. María, voy a poner tu pregunta aquí en el screen. Perdón que no me vean. María dice, tengo pregunta que vamos a ocupar los que ya hicimos AP y queremos hacer ajuste de estatus con un hijo de 21 años. Por ejemplo, ¿qué aplicaciones? Ok, María. So, felicidades que hizo AP. Qué bueno escuchar que tiene un hijo aquí de 21 años. So, lo que usted va a tener que hacer, si es que no ha hecho anteriormente, es una aplicación, formulario 130 y 130, que es la petición para el familiar. So, ahí sería que su hijo le estaría pidiendo. Conjunto con esa aplicación, usted va a llenar el formulario I-485, que ya es la aplicación para el ajuste de estatus. Esa aplicación vienen otros formularios que usted tiene que incluir, que son el 864, que es es como el formulario de financiera, del apoyo financiero que su hijo le tiene que hacer. También va a incluir el I-693, que es el examen médico, que es requisito para el ajuste de estatus. Y de último, los otros dos formularios que generalmente nosotros recomendamos que incluyan porque son gratis, es el I-131, que es para el permiso de viaje, y el I-765, que es para el permiso de trabajo debajo de ajuste de estatus. Cuando usted incluye esos dos formularios con su aplicación de ajuste de estatus, es cuando tiene la posibilidad de que le vayan a aprobar una combo card, que le dicen. So voy a repetir en inglés rapidito. Maria is asking, what do we need to do if we've come back from AP and we want to file adjustment of status through a child that's 21. So basically, you need to submit the I-130, which is the actual petition where they're asking for you. You need to submit the I-485, which is the portion that you actually apply for adjustment of status. You can submit those both together. The I-485 has some supporting documents that you need to include, which are the I-864, which is the affidavit of support. It has to do with the financial support that your petitioner has to provide. And then the I-693, which is actually your medical exam, which is required. And then we recommend to always include the I-131, which is the evidence parole again. And then the I-765, which is for another work permit or employment authorization document. When you include both of those together with your adjustment of status, and they're free, you get a chance to maybe get a combo card. So that's why we normally encourage that. Gracias por su pregunta, María. A ver, aquí tenemos la próxima pregunta, Jewel Acevedo. How long are medical exams good for? So medical exams for adjustment of status are valid for 2 years from the date of the civil surgeon's signature, which means, there's not a lot of cases that are taking more than 2 years right now. Unless you have a case that's waiting for like a visa category. So you're pretty much good if you have one that's good for 2 years. I want to let everyone know there used to be a requirement where the sealed medical exam had to be submitted to USCIS within 60 days of signing and filing your AOS. But that's no longer a requirement. So you no longer have that timeline that you have to meet. So as long as you have it, they're good for 2 years from date of signature. Los exámenes médicos son válidos por 2 años. Esa es la pregunta que está haciendo aquí Yula Acevedo. A ver. Next question we have here. Are there any additional fees to apply under 245I, Adela? Yes, Adela, there are. So you actually have to pay a $1,000 penalty. It's called a penalty for 245I. And so that's what USCIS requires. So you have to send in an extra $1,000. And that's for the supplement A that you have to include with your I-485 in order to use 245I. So Adela pregunta si acaso hay algún costo adicional cuando uno está aplicando debajo de la ley 245I. Y la respuesta es sí, hay una penalización de $1,000 que uno tiene que pagar. Entonces usted simplemente tiene que incluir unos $1,000 extra con su suplemento A, que es el formulario que se le adjunta al 485 cuando uno está ajustando debajo la ley de 245I. Ok, a ver. Tenemos María H de YouTube. Yo quiero saber si tengo que cambiar mi nombre en el pasaporte. Mi driver's license y mi permiso de trabajo tienen mi nombre de casada. Quiero aplicar para el AP, pero quiero saber eso primero. Gracias. A ver, yo quiero saber si tengo que cambiar mi nombre en el pasaporte. María, la manera que escribo un poquito la pregunta no estoy entendiendo muy bien si acaso creo que me está diciendo que su licencia de conducir y su permiso de trabajo ya tienen su nombre de casada, pero su pasaporte no. Corríjame si estoy entendiendo mal. Pero si eso es lo que me está preguntando, no es necesario cambiarlo en el pasaporte. Incluso la mayoría de nuestros países natales no los permiten cambiar los nombres en el pasaporte, a lo menos que usted quiera hacer como un proceso judicial en su país natal, a donde pide que la corte legalmente y oficialmente le cambie el nombre y ahí ya puede usted cambiar el pasaporte. Generalmente como en nuestros países normalmente no se cambia el apellido, a veces se le puede añadir el apellido de su pareja como un tercer apellido o se lo ponen al ladito en el pasaporte, pero generalmente no se cambia. Pero no hay problema, nunca va a tener un problema con viajar si su pasaporte no coincide con su permiso de trabajo o con su AP. CBP se va a guiar por lo que sale en el permiso de trabajo y el AP. Cuando usted compre sus pasajes, tiene que asegurarse de ponerlo como aparece en su pasaporte. Siempre su pasaje del vuelo tiene que coincidir con el pasaporte. Espero que eso le ayude. So Maria was asking if she has to change her name on her passport. Now that she's married, she's changed it on her driver's license or work permit, but not her passport. And she wants to apply for AP, but she wanted to know about that first. So just letting her know that she doesn't need to change it on her passport. She usually, most of our native countries won't allow us to change it on our passport just because of marriage, unless you want to go through like a court petition where you change your passport officially and legally. So she's fine. CBP is gonna base it off of the work permit and the AP when you're traveling or returning from travel abroad. But you do have to make sure to buy your plane tickets to match your passport. Your plane tickets always have to match your passport. Una cosita más, María, que se me olvidó incluir, es que una buena sugerencia que siempre le damos a los del grupo es que si su pasaporte no coincide con el nombre en su AP porque se casó, simplemente lleve una copia de su certificado de matrimonio. Eso va a ayudar el proceso. So just adding on to María that we normally advise that if your passport has your maiden name and then your work permit or AP has your married name, something else that you can do to just make things easier for yourself when you're traveling abroad with AP is just take a copy of your marriage certificate, and they'll know exactly what's going on. It's pretty common. They're used to seeing that. Ok, a ver aquí. Tenemos otras preguntitas más. Tengo aquí a Laura. Laura dice, hola, renové mi DACA en línea y según se guardó la aplicación ya llenos en mi computadora, pero ahora que la iba a imprimir no está. No sabe si se guarda esa aplicación en la página de UCIS. Me gustaría tenerlo para mis records. Sí, Laura. Debería estar en su... Si usted tiene acceso a su cuenta de línea en UCIS, vaya al caso y vaya debajo documentos y a veces está ahí y si no, por X razón no está ahí, usted siempre puede someter un FOIA en línea pidiendo los documentos de la renovación de esa renovación de DACA que usted hizo. Pero debería estar ahí debajo de los documentos en el caso de la renovación. A lo mejor van a estar separados el formulario de la 8, del DACA debajo del DACA y del permiso de trabajo debajo de las 765. Pero como le dije, por caso siempre se puede someter un FOIA online en UCIS, es súper fácil y rápido. Tenemos una guía y simplemente pide una copia de su renovación más reciente. So Laura's asking, she says that she renewed her DACA online and she thought that the application was saved on her computer and she went to go print it out to have it for her records and she realized she didn't have it. She wants to know if USCIS saves a copy. So usually when you file online, if you have online access to your case under the documents tab, you should be able to find a copy of your renewal. But worst case scenario, if it's not there, you can always submit a quick USCIS online FOIA. We have a video guide for it. Just search it in our Facebook group. And just request your most recent copy of your most recent DACA renewal, and they'll send it to you pretty quickly. A ver aquí. Perdón, que esté tosiendo un poquito. A ver. Tenemos Daisy. Natalie, I just saw a post I received today, a 131 rejection due to some of the pages were 2 multiple edition dates, which I honestly never thought to even look at, as I thought everything with forms were good, but was wrong. So now my question is, when sending it now separately, will I need to submit a payment or how, since this was part of my... Okay, Daisy, so yeah, always pay attention to those little addition dates. Ladies and gentlemen, when you guys are applying for anything with USCIS, before you print everything out, I know you filled out your whole form on Adobe or whatever software. Before you fill it out and get it ready to send out, always do one quick due diligence. Go to the USCIS website, check out the form that you're printing, and just check that edition date, compare it to the one you filled out. If it's not the same, fill it out again on the new copy of the new edition. In Daisy's case, she sent out some pages of the old edition, some of the new edition. It happens. Don't worry, Daisy. It was rejected due to that. No worries, not a big deal. Super easy fix. All you need to do is fill out that I-131 again on the new form, the new edition. And then what I want you to do is when you mail it out, include a copy of your I-797, which is your receipt notice, your notice of receipt of your pending I-485 case. So if you don't have that receipt notice yet, just give it a little, give it a bit, wait for it. If you have online access and you can get it under the documents tab, print it out and just include it with that I-131 application. They'll see that this is supposed to be part of your AOS concurrent filing and you will not have to submit a payment. But again, you do have to include that receipt for the I-485, okay? So Daisy pregunta sobre qué hacer porque le rechazaron su formulario 131 que ella sometió como parte de su paquete de ajuste de estatus, dado que tenía páginas de una edición y páginas de otra. Siempre le recuerdo a todo el mundo que acuerde de chequear la edición más reciente antes de enviar sus paquetes, pero es un arreglo súper fácil para Daisy. Lo único que tiene que hacer es llenar el formulario 131, la nueva edición, nuevamente, imprima todo. Y cuando usted lo vaya a enviar por correo postal a UCIS, asegúrese de incluir una copia del recibo del formulario 485 que está pendiente. Si no incluye el recibo, va a tener problemas, pero si incluye el recibo, no va a tener que hacer ningún pago y ellos van a saber que es parte de su paquete de AOS. ¿Ok? Espero que eso le ayude, Daisy. No es muy complicado, so easy fix. Javier, just got my combo card. Congratulations. Javier, I remember you actually. You were one of my first batches of those AOS packet reviews. And I remember, if I remember correctly, I think I had like some technical difficulties for your review. I was starting out, so my bad. Forgive me if that was you. Let's see. But you also have a pending DACA renewal. Will I still get my DACA EAD as well as my combo? Yes, you were. Yes, you will. Sorry. Yes, you will. So your DACA EAD is going to be under category C33, which is for DACA. And then your combo card is under category C09. And it probably has a P on there since you got that combo card. Lucky you, because not everyone does get one. And so that's super exciting that you got that. I'm super, super happy for you. Hopefully you get that green card pretty soon as well, especially right now with USCIS kind of ramping up adjudication of adjustment of status cases. So yep, you're good. You're good. You're still going to get your DACA EAD. And ladies and gentlemen, we do always recommend you keep renewing your DACA when you have a pending adjustment of status. Got to remember, when you have DACA, take advantage. It's a backup. It protects you. If your adjustment of status were to get declined for some reason, you have DACA backing you up. So congratulations again, Javier. Super happy for you. I do remember doing your packet review. So keep us updated in the group. Excited to hear when you get that 485 approved. All right, let's see here. That's super exciting. I love when you guys update us about where you're at with your process, both on the advanced parole side and the adjustment of status side. It's super exciting to us over at Dreamers Together, and it's super motivating to other people in the group. So I really do appreciate it. We love to hear it. We love to see you guys post about that. Let's see here. María. Mi pasaporte tiene el maiden name. Oh, ok, María, es la misma María de anteriormente. Ok, sí. Entonces sí entendí bien su pregunta, que su pasaporte tenía su apellido soltera y sus otros documentos de casada. Creo que me escuchó mi respuesta, María. Si no, cuando termine el live, solo hágale un rewind y ahí puede ver, pero básicamente no va a cambiar su pasaporte, pero sí le sugerimos de que lleve su certificado de nacimiento cuando esté viajando. Y compre su vuelo al mismo nombre que sale en su pasaporte. Claudia says, is it safe to ask for a FOIA for someone that has multiple entries? Yes, requesting a FOIA is safe. A FOIA is basically you just requesting information that government agencies already have on file for you. So it's not like they're going to learn something new. You're basically it's basically you trying to find out what they have on you already. So super safe, but also, be smart about it. If you are trying to figure out if someone maybe has multiple entries, then you kind of want to be a little vague with the way that you're asking the question on the FOIA. So, for example, if you're submitting a FOIA for OBIM, which has to do with biometrics, which you should if you're trying to figure out about multiple entries. You're going to get fingerprinted. You're going to send in your fingerprints, and then you're just going to say, I would like a record of any and all entry, departures, interactions with CBP or Border Patrol tied to my fingerprints. Or you don't even have to add the last part because they're going to run your fingerprints either way. And so what they'll do is they'll run your fingerprints and compare it to everything they have in their database. And if there's a match anywhere, they're going to send you what matched up, and they'll let you know what they have on file. Same thing with CBP, except you're not going to send them your fingerprints. The OBIM results are usually faster. And sometimes what you get on the OBIM helps you narrow down what you want to ask CBP for. But again, you still want to keep it vague. So for example, let's say that you're unsure of whether you had a second entry without inspection in March of 2006. What you don't want to do is send a FOIA saying, please send me records of my entry in March 2006. What you do want to do is send a FOIA saying, please send me a record of any and all entries, departures, interactions with CBP or U.S. Border Patrol between the years 1997 and 2003, or 1997 and 2010. Give them a range, you know? Or you can just say ever, matching my name and my information. And then they have to search for it. And if they find anything that matches your name, or your name and your date of birth, they have to send it to you and release it to you. So don't be scared about asking for a FOIA. If you need one, you're only asking for what they already know. Either way, it's you just figuring that out. But to reiterate what my compañera Lorena posted on the Facebook group today, not everyone needs a FOIA. So if you're doing adjustment of status, don't let yourself be hung up on getting a FOIA and delaying your adjustment of status application. You should really only request a FOIA if you are unsure of whether you have more than one entry, of whether you had interactions with CBP or U.S. Border Patrol, things of that nature. If you're unsure, definitely ask for one for sure. But if you are sure, or your parent is sure that you only have the one entry and you never left, then there really isn't a reason to ask for a FOIA. Another reason to ask for a FOIA is if you're trying to figure out what other people have put down on your applications, like if a lawyer applied for you, submitted an application, and you're just not sure what they put down, then you can ask for a FOIA and ask for a copy of everything that was sent in. So I hope that answers your question, Claudia. Let's see. We do have a few more questions here. And I'm sorry if I'm a little slow getting through your questions, guys. Let's see. All right. We have another question from Maria from YouTube, que nos está mirando de YouTube. Tuve una petición de ajuste de estatus por parte de mi papá, pero cerró el caso porque mi papá y mi mamá se separaron y no continuó. Esto fue en el 2005. ¿Eso cuenta para 130 o todo sería como empezar de nuevo? So, el 130, si no se aprobó, si se aprobó el 130 es válido por vida, básicamente, a lo menos que se fue al NBC y se anuló. Pero me parece que el 130 de este caso que está describiendo sería que su papá pidió a su mamá y usted estaba incluida como un derivative, un derivado, beneficiario derivado. Si usted ahorita está aplicando a través de su hija, que es ciudadana y tiene 21 años, ese 130 de ese caso anterior es irrelevante. Su hija ahora es su patrocinadora, ella le tiene que someter un 130. Un 130 no se puede reemplazar por otro 130. Siempre tiene que haber un I-130 válido de la persona que le está pidiendo en este momento. Creo que es usted a la que me estaba comentando de su hija o hijo que tiene 21. Si ese es el caso y usted está ajustando a través de ese hijo, entonces ese hijo le tiene que someter un 130 para que le puedan aprobar el ajuste. Espero que se lo ayude, María. María H. Thank you so much. It's very, you're welcome, Maria. Happy to help. Happy you're able to get the information you needed. Let's see. Brian Sandoval, is she going to answer questions posted here? Yes, she is. I'm going to answer any questions that you post on here. I'll try to stay on for a bit so I can get through as many questions as I can. I'm a bit of a night owl, so you guys are lucky. I'm going to stay on here for a little bit. If it starts slowing down, then I'll probably, wind things up, but wind things down. But yeah, I'll be here to answer any questions that I am. So if you have a question, post it, and we'll look over it together and see if we can give you an answer. All right, let's see. Richard Reyes, we married first civilly in one state, then later through church in another state. Do we submit the marriage certificate of the civil marriage or both? Good question, Richard. So the marriage that is considered legal is the one that's going to be on file with the court system, or the court where you got married. So if the civil marriage that you're describing is the one where you went to a courthouse, they gave you a marriage license, and then you eventually got a marriage certificate, or in some states, the marriage license is the same paper as a marriage certificate, then in that case, that's the document that you're going to use. Church weddings, if they weren't later registered through the court system, then it's really just a formality of tradition and your religious belief in the ceremony. So it's always going to be whatever is legal through a legal document. So whatever you can get from the court, essentially. Hope that answers your question. Let's see here. Tenemos. Let's see. Necesito la acta. Nayilo dice, necesito la acta de nacimiento de mi esposo para pedir AP por medio de mis suegros. Sí. Ok, Nayilo. So creo que lo que me está preguntando es, bueno, usted quiere tramitar una AP por visitar a uno de sus suegros, supongo que a lo mejor una razón médica o algo así. Sí, tiene que siempre someter los documentos demostrando la conexión familiar. En su caso, tendría que someter el certificado de matrimonio entre usted y su pareja, demostrando que es su pareja, y luego el certificado de nacimiento de su pareja y el certificado, porque ahí van a estar listados los padres, ¿verdad? Y el certificado de nacimiento de los suegros, de los padres de su pareja que usted va a visitar, porque eso es un documento de identidad comprobando quiénes son. Certificado de matrimonio, certificado de nacimiento, acta de nacimiento de su pareja, y luego también de los padres de sus suegros que usted va a visitar. Espero que eso le ayude. A ver. Daisy, wondering the same thing. What are you wondering, Daisy? I think you had a question earlier. Maybe these questions are coming in the comments out of order. Not sure if that's what's going on, but if you do have another question, just post it below and I'll try to answer it. She is now. Oh, okay, I see. I think Daisy was replying to Brian's earlier comment if I was going to answer questions. I'm sorry, guys. I think for some reason when we stream, maybe the comments are a little delayed coming onto the streaming software. So I'm assuming you guys commented and I couldn't see them in the beginning. But like I said before, right? If you have a question, just post it, and I'll be happy to answer. Let's see here. Oh, aquí viene Daisy otra vez. A ver. Yes, I have that too, so I will follow what you suggested. Thank you so much. Feel so relieved. Thanks to you. Oh, you're welcome, Daisy. Happy I was able to help. And it looks like we did answer your question, which is what you were wondering before, right? So happy we were able to help. Let's see. All right. Let's see. We have Monica Arellano. Monica says, I just sent out my AP. Should I wait for that process to be over to request my FOIA in preparation for AOS, or does it not matter? I'm nervous to raise any red flags. You don't need to wait, Monica. If you actually need a FOIA, first of all, figure out if you actually need a FOIA. Because some of the FOIAs are a little backlogged. They're, taking a little bit of time. So figure out first if you actually need a FOIA. Is there something that you're unsure of, something you're a little worried about on your history, or you're trying to figure out if there's something that immigration has about you and you want to know? If none of those really apply to you, then you don't necessarily need a FOIA. You can always request one just to kind of see, but don't let that hold you back from applying for adjustment of status. And you don't need to wait until after you come back from AP or after AP is approved in order to request your FOIA. You can go ahead and do that now. If you do need one, actually do it now, because like I said, they are taking a while. So you don't want to delay your process any more than necessary. So yeah, if you're waiting for your AP to be processed, submit that FOIA as soon as you can. That way, while your AP is processing and then while you travel and then you come back, that's, going through the motions of getting answered. So hope that helps. Let's see who's next. Brian. Okay. Hi, Brian. There's your question. Okay. Hi, do I report traffic tickets on my I-485? I had gotten tickets for driving without a license in New York about 7 years ago. All my fees were paid, collectively more than $900, but got them separately. Okay, Brian. So some people will tell you no, you don't need to report them. I'll tell you yes. I'm going to tell you why. So the 485 instructions, they do mention something about 500, but they don't say that you don't need to mention them if they're under 500. What they say is that you don't need to submit supporting documents if they're under 500. What's really important with adjustment of status in any immigration application is that you don't lie. Either by omission or by straight up, just not putting down the truth. If you know what the truth is, you should put it down. The reason why is that if they know that you're fibbing, technically they do have the right to decline just because you lied on an application. They probably wouldn't happen for this. So for anybody who does have a traffic ticket and forgot to mention it on your 485, it's probably not a big deal. They're really looking for things like DUIs, manslaughter, things like that, bigger, more severe traffic cases, driving without a license, speeding, things like that. That's not going to be anything that affects your AOS. But I would say yes, I would disclose it. Yes, I did. And then at the end of your 485 form, in the little explanation for additional information section, you can put something really simple down. I mean, something along the lines of, 7 years ago, that would be 2016. So I would say something along the lines of, in 2016, I was cited for a minor traffic violation of driving without a license. Since then, I've paid all fees. I paid my ticket in full, and that would be enough. You really don't need to go much into detail. I mean, I would mention that none of the tickets were under $500, and that they were all paid in full, and then you're good. That's really all you need to mention, because like I said, under 500, they don't need any supporting documents. And when they say 500, they don't mean like collectively. They do mean like a single traffic violation that was over 500. The reason they say that is because most of the time, if it's over 500, it was a more severe traffic violation, probably like a DUI or something similar. So hope that helps, Brian. Also, if you're in our Facebook group for AOS, if you want a little more detailed kind of description or examples of how you can type that up, go into our AOS Facebook group, use our search bar, and then put keywords like traffic ticket or traffic citation, and you'll be able to see probably a good number of posts where people ask similar questions. And the good thing about it is that in those posts, we usually answer, and then we usually provide enough details, like examples as to how to word the explanation for it at the end of the 485. So definitely check that out if you can. A ver aquí. So we have Nestle. Nestle dice, for AP, we don't need any medical records, right? Is that just for AOS? You do and you don't. I'll explain what I mean. So you don't need any like medical exam. Like you physically don't need to get a medical exam. That's for adjustment of status by a civil surgeon. But if you are requesting for advanced parole, based on DACA, you need to provide a reason. If that humanitarian reason that you're using is that someone has a medical issue, then you do need a letter from their doctor or medical records showing what that medical issue is. If you're traveling or you're requesting advance parole so that you can get a medical procedure done, then you are going to have to also turn in records of what that procedure is, why it's medically necessary, or, for example, that the cost abroad is a lot more affordable than the cost here. So, if it's about a medical exam, for adjustment of status, that's not needed for AP. But if it's about humanitarian reason that has to do with a medical reason, then you do have to turn in some type of medical records, documents, or a letter from, a constancia médica from the doctor. Okay. Betty Contreras, ¿qué documentos y aplicaciones debe llenar mi co-sponsor, ya que ella es una amiga y no un familiar? ¿Qué comprobantes debo enviar en el paquete sobre ella? Gracias. Hola, Betty. So, buenas noticias. No importa si el co-sponsor o joint sponsor es un familiar, un amigo, una amistad, no importa. Lo que UCIS requiere es de que esa persona sea residente permanente, ciudadano de los Estados Unidos o nacional de los Estados Unidos, y de que ellos vayan a haber tramitado sus 3 años de taxes más recientes y tengan como manera de comprobar sus ingresos, de que ellos ganan lo suficiente para el formulario 864. Pero para darle más detalle, su co-sponsor tiene que llenar el formulario 864. Tiene que obviamente poner que es joint sponsor y tiene que someter evidencia de su estatus. So, si acaso es una residente permanente, su copia de su green card, si es una ciudadana, si es nacida aquí, su certificado de nacimiento. Si es naturalizada, puede someter el certificado de naturalización o el pasaporte de Estados Unidos. Los 3 años de taxes, técnicamente solo se necesita enviar uno, pero si los 3 años demuestran que los 3 años ella estaba ganando suficiente, puede someter los 3. De todos modos, ellos le van a pedir información sobre los 3 años, pero necesariamente no tiene que enviar los 3 años. Definitivamente tiene que enviar el más reciente. Y yo siempre recomiendo de que envíen algún comprobante del ingreso actual. So, por ejemplo, si ella está trabajando así W2 y le pagan su quincena, simplemente puede ir a su jefe, o si tiene algún servicio en línea como ADP, puede ella pedir sus colillas de cheques de los últimos, diría yo, 2-3 meses, y eso se puede incluir como comprobante del ingreso para su paquete. Espero que eso le ha ayudado con su pregunta. A ver aquí. Let's see. Daisy, otra pregunta de Daisy. Okay. What can we do if they aren't finding anything when requesting a FOIA? I have tried multiple times for my husband, but we can't seem to get anything back. He was detained when he was about 16 years old. Would a complete FBI GCIG request, would that appear there? Daisy, when you say he was detained, if you can comment a little lower, tell me, detained by Border Patrol, detained by Customs and Border Protection officer, detained inside the United States for like some type of criminal history or criminal charges. Give me a heads up which one it is. If he was detained by like a U.S. Border Patrol when he was attempting to enter the United States for the first time, there very well may not be a record of it. If he was trying to enter for the first time. So if he's never lived in the United States and he was trying to enter for the first time and he got caught, essentially, or what we call a catch and release. It's also called officially the name is voluntary return, but sometimes it's called a catch and release. It's also known as a turnaround or a throwback. Basically what that is when you are attempting to cross into the U.S. without inspection, and you're caught by a Border Patrol officer. And so it doesn't count as an official entry. It counts as an attempt. And so what they'll do sometimes is they'll detain you for a little bit, they'll fingerprint you, and then they'll send you on your way. They'll just say, all right, go back, which is why it's called a turnaround. It's like you walked up to the imaginary border and they saw you and they're like, we got you, turn back around and go back where Go back where you were just coming from, turn around. So that's called a turnaround or a voluntary return. Sometimes those appear on the CBP records and sometimes they don't. CBP, sorry, not CBP, US Border Patrol is notorious for not wanting to do paperwork. So sometimes it's like a procedural thing. They'll just turn people back around and send them on their merry way. Does he remember getting fingerprinted? If he remembers getting fingerprinted, there's probably a record out there. You may just need to be submitting a OBIM FOIA, O as in office, B as in biometrics, I as in info, and M as in management, where you have to send in a copy of his fingerprints in order for them to run it against their system. If he didn't get fingerprinted, there's a good chance there isn't a record of it. But let me know if that sounds like what happened to him, if it was with Border Patrol, and then we'll see if we can talk a little more detail about it, and let me know what happened, and see if that works. Let's see here. Next question. We have Brian again. Let's see, Brian. Based on your experience, how many pages, including the application, should my package be if filing concurrently by marriage-based status adjustment? My wife is a citizen. I know it's a difficult question to know exactly, so just a rough estimate would suffice. Pages, you know what? You got me on that one, because I've never truly counted what the exact number of pages are for the forms, and the evidence and your cover letter and your copy of your taxes, etc. It's going to vary for each person, right? Some people can turn in a pretty slim packet, and by slim, I still mean it's at least this thick. And some people are going to turn in much thicker packets. I'm a strong proponent of quality over quantity. So it's not necessary to submit every evidence under the face of the earth. As long as you submit enough to prove that your relationship is, bona fide, that's sufficient. What you definitely want to make sure is that you've included all of your forms. So for concurrent filing of AOS, marriage-based, it's going to be I-130, I-130A, 485, 864, 693, which is your medical exam, which is sealed. Don't open that. I-131 and I-765 if you're trying to get that combo card as well. So make sure all of your forms are there. Make sure that they're all the most up-to-date new edition version. You can figure that out by going straight to the USCIS website and seeing if that is the new edition that's on there. And then make sure that you're submitting all the adequate proof for each form. For bona fide marriage evidence, most marriage-based AOS is going to be thicker than like a child petitioning for their parent, because a child doesn't have to really prove that much of a bona fide relationship to their parent, but the marriage does. One thing I like to say about marriage-based evidence: go heavy on the evidence that USCIS likes to see. What they heavily weight, what they favor as evidence is financial documents, proof that you're sharing the expenses of your household, things like that. So you don't need to, and listen for everyone, you do not need to send 50 plus pictures of your relationship. I can assure you that the USCIS officer is going to go through a few of them and then probably not look at any of the others, or they might skim through them. You also don't need to send letters of character reference letters or affidavits from friends and family if you have sufficient bona fide evidence. What does USCIS favor? Financial documents. Do you have bank accounts together, and do both of you use that bank account? It doesn't help if you have a bank account with both your names on it and only you're depositing or withdrawing from that account. They want to see that you're both using it, activity, right? Same thing with credit cards. Does one of you have a credit card and the other one's an authorized user? And on your statements, can you see that both cards are using that, credit limit? Joint property or jointly owned items, real property like land, houses, and also vehicles. Do you lease a vehicle together? Is it financed together? Other financial documents that people sometimes don't take into account is insurance. They love seeing any kind of insurance together. Your auto insurance, are you both listed on there as drivers? Great, send that in. Life insurance, do you have a life insurance? Do you have your spouse as your beneficiary? If you don't, change it and then send it in. Same thing vice versa. Do they have a life insurance? Make sure they're listing you. Health insurance, if you have health insurance together or through work and they're listed as your dependent, they have coverage through you. Retirement accounts, make sure you're listing each other as your beneficiaries. Home insurance, renter's insurance. Rent insurance is a great piece of evidence. Why? Because not only is it insurance together, but you're also showing that you've been living together because you're both on the same rental insurance. So send those in. Shared household expenses is a big one too. Everybody seems to think that you can only send in bills that have both of your names on it. No, that's not true. You can send in bills that are just in your name and bills that are just in her name or your spouse's name, as long as they both go to the same address. Because what are you showing when you do that? Well, you're showing that, hey, I cover this many expenses from our household. She covers that many expenses from our household. We're splitting the cost of keeping our household together. So both your names don't need to be on it. For example, if you take care of the utilities like the water, the electric bill, maybe the trash bill, and she takes care of Verizon and cell phone bills and I don't know, like Netflix or something, as long as you can show that each of you gets bills to that same address, you're showing that you have your finances commingled, that you're sharing expenses. I really hope that helps. If you have children, also, of course, that's a great proof of bona fide marriage. If you have children together, send those birth certificates. You can also send medical or school records that show both of you listed as guardians or emergency contacts. I've even seen people do the same thing with their like pets. If you have pets together and you have vet records that show both of you listed as emergency contacts, especially if they're like old vet records and new vet records, that can be useful as well. So hope that helps. All right, let's see. Luis Bautista, ¿es difícil pedir OBIM FOIA? No, Luis, no es difícil para nada. Lo primero que tiene que hacer, su primer paso va a ser sacarse las huellas. Puede hacer sus huellas usted mismo. Tiene que tener cuidado de que se estén haciendo bien, que no estén borrosas, que se puedan leer. También usted puede ir, si tiene una oficina de policía, de sheriff cerca, puede llamar y preguntar si acaso ellos hacen huellas y les dan la copia para someterlas. Y si sí, solo haga una cita y tómese las huellas. Creo que también otros lugares hacen huellas, las oficinas postales, creo que FedEx y UPS también. No todas las oficinas de FedEx y UPS, pero sí busque en línea y sí sé que algunos de ellos sí ofrecen ese servicio. Averigüe cuál le queda cerca y lo puede hacer. Cualquier lugar que oficialmente saque huellas, sean huellas en tinta, en papel, o sea que sean huellas digitales, lo importante es que a usted le den una copia. Ya teniendo sus huellas, va a ir a un sitio de web que es www.securerelease, que en inglés es secure release, .us. Hágame favor, entra a nuestra página de Facebook, el de AP o el de AOS, y ponga OBIM, y va a ver ahí a dónde es que tiene que ir, a qué sitio de web. Pero usted va a ese sitio de web, crea una cuenta, va a poner de que quiere hacer un FOIA debajo del Departamento de Homeland Security y luego debajo de OBIM, y se va a abrir una pantalla como un cuadrado a donde usted va a explicar qué records está buscando. Usted les pone ahí una breve explicación qué records está buscando. Y luego, en la próxima página, allá donde usted puede subir el documento, adjuntar la copia de las huellas. So, lo que usted va a hacer es que simplemente sacarle foto, una buena foto, por favor. O mejor, lo que yo recomiendo es escanee. Hágale un scan a las huellas que se sacó y las guarda como una imagen, un PDF, y las adjunta a ese FOIA request. So el de OBIM es relativamente simple. A veces OBIM le pide que usted firme un formulario a donde usted le está dando permiso de que ellos corran sus huellas. Tengo una copia de ese formulario que gracias a una de las miembros de nuestro grupo nos avisó que ellos le enviaron una copia de ese formulario en blanco, y lo voy a estar subiendo a nuestra página de AOS para que así lo tengan listo, porque lo que pueden hacer es ya de una vez llenar ese formulario, firmarlo y también adjuntarlo a esa a ese request de OBIM FOIA. So no es muy difícil. Si usted quiere, también busque FOIA en nuestro YouTube. Perdón, y también en nuestro grupo tenemos una guía de video sobre cómo pedir el FOIA de CBP y el de OBIM es casi igualito. Es en el mismo sitio de web también. Espero que eso le ayude. A ver. Tenemos unas preguntitas más. María, ¿tienen video de cómo llenar las aplicaciones en YouTube? Porque los que hay en el grupo de Facebook de AOS solo están completas como para un esposo, esposa, no de hijo, padres. Estamos en proceso de sacar guías de video, María. Creo que ya tenemos el de, bueno, no creo. Sé que ya tenemos el del 864 porque se lo hice yo. Mis compañeros están haciendo uno para el 130 y 130A y creo que uno para el 131. Y luego también vamos a tener los otros formularios y vamos a tratar de hacer para diferentes situaciones. Pero María, la verdad, cuando usted esté llenando los formularios de 130, permíteme. Perdón, que tengo mascotas y creo que respire un pelito de ellos. Permíteme. Ok, perdón, María. Como le estaba diciendo, los formularios de hijo a padre se llenan casi igual que de esposa a esposa, porque las preguntas que le hacen son iguales. La única diferencia es que usted no tiene que llenar el 130A. Y obviamente cuando esté llenando el 130 y pregunte ahí qué tipo de aplicación es, en vez de poner de pareja, va a poner de hijo a padre, esencialmente. Esa es la única diferencia. Los formularios, todo lo resto se llena igual. Porque las porciones de los formularios a donde le pide la información de su pareja, usted va a poner la información de su pareja, irrelevante de que si acaso su hijo es el que le está pidiendo su pareja. Si usted está casada, va a poner la información de su esposo. Si no está casada, entonces, bueno, no va a poner información de su pareja. Es casi, las guías van a ser iguales prácticamente. Le aviso porque hace reciente yo llené el AOS de mis padres y estoy actualmente haciéndolo para mi abuela y es todas las mismas preguntas. Realmente no cambia mucho. La única diferencia, como le digo, es que usted no va a llenar el 130A y obviamente no va a tener que someter evidencias de relación verídica. Solamente va a tener que someter el certificado o el acta de nacimiento de su hijo, demostrando que usted es la mamá. Y eso es todo. A ver, aquí. Veo que tenemos una pregunta de Angie. Angie Rodriguez, do you recommend to file I-212 and AOS together? And then there's a follow-up. Just saw a lawyer and she recommended to file the I-212 first. Angie, that's a very specific question because most people don't have to file an I-212 with their adjustment of status. And I'm assuming that you're doing that because you had some type of removal history or proceedings in the past. Not everyone that has had removal proceedings or history has to submit an I-212. For some people, it doesn't make a difference whether you submit one or not. We have a few group members that have had removal proceedings and have successfully adjusted status. And then we also have our one and only Charles Cook, which is one of the best immigration lawyers in the United States. And he has a whole group of, I think, DACA recipients that have had removal proceedings, have done have done advanced parole to gain a legal entry, and then are undergoing the process of adjustment of status. The thing with removal proceedings is that once you're in removal proceedings, USCIS doesn't have jurisdiction over your adjustment of status. The EOIR, or the immigration judge, does. And so technically, usually what you have to do, what's the recommended course of action, depending on what kind of removal proceedings you had, okay, is to submit a joint motion to reopen to the immigration judge, where you're asking them to reopen your case and then completely terminate your deportation or removal proceedings based on the fact that you have an approved I-130 and are trying to adjust status. We have a group member called Wilmer who did submit an I-212, and we think that that's what helped him get through with adjustment of status. But I recommend that you reach out to Wilmer Palacios. He's in our AOS group. Reach out to him. He has there's a whole like subgroup of applicants that are going through the same process, and they'll be able to give you more insight and details than I will, in terms of their, their personal experience with their adjustment of status. And then if you have more questions and you really want some very good guidance, I'd recommend you reach out to Charles Cook. He knows exactly what to do in those instances, and he can tell you what to expect, and what your best course of action is going to be. Let's see here. We have, thank you from Richard Reyes. You're welcome, Richard. Happy to help. Happy we were able to answer your questions. Let's see here. María Naya again. Mi hijo estaría haciendo la petición para mí y mi esposo, padrastro. Nos casamos antes que él cumpliera 18 años y pues sé que se tendría que mandar las aplicaciones por separado. ¿Qué más ocupo? Taxes. María, nuevamente, usted va a someter toda la misma evidencia que tiene que someter cualquier ajuste de estatus, incluso los de matrimonio. La diferencia va a ser que usted no tiene que incluir comprobante de relación verídica, solamente va a entregar el certificado de nacimiento de su hijo, demostrando que usted es la mamá. En el dado caso de su esposo, que es el padrastro, van a tener que someter la acta de nacimiento y también al certificado de matrimonio, demostrando que él se casó antes de que su hijo cumpliera 18. Aparte de eso, todos los otros comprobantes van a ser los mismos que cualquier otro aplicante para ajuste de estatus va a incluir. Parte del ajuste de estatus es de que su patrocinador tiene que demostrar de que gana lo suficiente para poder apoyarlos a ustedes de manera financiera, de que ustedes no vayan a convertirse en un cargo pública. Sí, tiene que entregar los impuestos de su hijo. UCIS prefiere de que entregue lo que se llama los tax transcripts. Las transcripciones de los impuestos se pueden obtener en el sitio web del IRS, que su hijo haga una cuenta con el sitio web de IRS y que simplemente baje el return transcript, se llama return transcript, de los últimos 3 años. Y lo resto es todo igual, todo la misma evidencia. Eso le sugiero de que en nuestro grupo debajo hay una parte donde dice files, un tab que dice files, y ahí hay unas cartas de presentación que se llaman AOS cover letter. Cliqué unas de esas porque las cover letters demuestran qué tipo de evidencia necesita para cada formulario, y nuevamente usted solamente tiene que ignorar la parte de evidencia de relación verídica. Espero que eso le ayude un poquito. A ver aquí. Jackie LaRue. I made a mistake on my cashier's check. I put payment to USCIS instead of U.S. Homeland Security. Will that be an issue? Technically, yes. Always make your checks, cashier's checks, personal checks, whatever you're sending payable to, and it's actually U.S. Department of Homeland Security. It's possible that you're going to get it's possible that you're going to get your application rejected. If that happens, don't stress about it. If they reject it, it's because it's not made payable to the right organ or agency. If that happens, they're going to send your whole application back, which is okay. All you're going to have to do is grab those cashier's checks, go back to the bank that gave them to you, have them reissue the checks with the correct pay to, which again, U.S. Department of Homeland Security. Have them reissue the checks and then resubmit your application. You don't need to add anything extra. You just resubmit the whole application together. Just change out what you need to change out. Let us know if anything else. Let us know if they give you another reason for rejection, but that should be all you have to do. I mean, there's always a chance that they're still able to deposit them, even though they're made out to USCIS. I've seen it happen, not very often, but it does happen. So hopefully that's the case and you don't have to refile, but if not, it's an easy fix. Acá Ash Molina dice, ¿cuánto tiempo tarda el sistema para mostrar información de la forma I-94? Generalmente es relativamente rápido, adentro de unos días, una semana de que usted regrese. Lo que tiene que tener cuidado es que CBP a veces no hace su trabajo bien y pone mal los nombres o las fechas de nacimientos, o lo más común que estamos viendo, que hemos estado viendo es de que en vez de poner su número de pasaporte para su número de documento cuando usted está en el sitio web de I-94 y buscándolo, ellos ponen su número de A, su USCIS number. So, si no le sale con su número de pasaporte, intente con su número de A, con la A y sin la A, y vea si le sale de esa manera. Y también chequee bien su nombre. A veces ellos ponen un apellido, los dos apellidos, los apellidos al revés si es que tiene dos apellidos. Si usted tiene fecha de nacimiento de números singulares, o por ejemplo, digamos que su fecha de nacimiento es el 6 de enero, ¿verdad? En nuestros pasaportes, la fecha es al revés de como lo tienen aquí los Estados Unidos. So, si el oficial de CBP miró su pasaporte, que es el 6 de enero, es posible que lo puso debajo el 1 de junio, porque el mes y el año están al revés. So, intente eso primero, cambiando los nombres, cambiando la fecha de nacimiento, si es que tiene fecha de nacimiento singular de un dígito. Y si no, intente cambiar el pasaporte a su número de A, con la A, sin la A. Si nada de eso le resulta, vaya a nuestra página de Facebook de AOS y mire nuestros featured posts que le dicen que son las publicaciones que son importantes. Y siga leyéndole a la derecha, va a encontrar uno que dice qué hacer si no encuentra el I-94 en línea. Ellos tienen un sistema, tienen como un proceso a donde usted les deja saber de que no encuentra su I-94 en línea. Usted adjunta los documentos que usó para entrar, por ejemplo, la copia de su AP o la copia de su pasaporte, y ellos hacen como un tipo de búsqueda interno y le dejan saber si es que lo encontraron, o a veces si es que lo tienen que corregir para que se encuentre nuevamente en línea. Pero ahí hay pasos que tomar, so busque ese post, esa publicación, y siga los pasos indicados. Isabel dice, ¿qué están pidiendo ahorita para Advanced Parole? Lo que siempre han pedido para Advanced Parole, Isabel. Siempre debajo de DACA usted tiene que tener una razón válida para pedir el Advanced Parole. Una razón humanitaria, una razón educativa, una razón de empleo. Por ejemplo, tiene que tener una razón válida que UICIS vaya a aceptar, y luego tiene que llenar su formulario de 131, someter los fees indicados, 575, y sus documentos que necesita para apoyar su petición del Advanced Parole. So, tiene que someter los comprobantes de su razón que está pidiendo. Tenemos varias guías en la página de AP. Tenemos varias sugerencias sobre razones. Si necesita ayuda con el proceso, también tenemos consultas de AP, a donde nuestro equipo de Advanced Parole se sienta con usted, tiene como una cita con usted y revisan si acaso tiene una razón verídica, o sea, válida, y le sugeran o le guían en lo que usted tiene que preparar si es que lo quiere hacer usted mismo, o también ellos ofrecen el servicio de prepararle su paquete de AP o su petición de AP directos. So, búsquenla en el grupo, hay varias guías y si se siente que necesita un poquito más ayuda uno en uno, puede también hacer una cita para, para recibir esa ayuda. Seguimos aquí. Monica says, yes, I'm unsure of history and what has been filed previously. Got it, Monica. So then, yeah, if you're unsure of your history, definitely submit a FOIA. You don't have to wait. You can submit it right away. Let us know if you do have any questions. Search up FOIA guide in our group. There's a guide for USCIS FOIA, and I believe CBP FOIA is the other one we did. But search the keyword FOIA, and there's plenty of posts that should help you figure out how to submit that FOIA request. Let's see here. Brian, another question from Brian. Brian has a lot of questions today. Glad we're able to help. Let's see. Work history. I worked with multiple employment agencies. I don't remember the dates exactly. It's been on and off. Do I have to give exact on the dates, or can I just write the year instead of the exact date? Thank you so much. It seems you're getting the comments minutes after they posted. Okay. So the comments are delayed. Got it. Okay. It also may be that I'm taking a little bit to get to your comments because there's a lot, but we'll go through there. You do have to submit all employers that you've had in the last 5 years. You mentioned employment agencies. If you were working through like a temp agency and they were just assigning you to different positions constantly, you don't include each of those positions because you were actually technically working for the temp agency. They were the ones employing you. They were just assigning you to different places. But if you truly did have different employers, many employers throughout the last 5 years, you do need to list all of them. If you're not sure of the dates, that's okay. Try to narrow it down to month and year, because you can't just put the year. You do have to put at least the month and year. If you don't know the exact date, that's fine. You can just put the first of, whatever month and year you remember, or the 15th. But do try to figure out at least the month and year. Do take your best guess. Look at your payment records. Look at your Social Security wage records, and see if you can figure it out that way. But you do have to try to narrow it down to month and year at the least. Let's see here. Claudia Varga pregunta, I plan to do AOS via child. He does not work, but I have my 40 credits. Will I need a sponsor? Secondly, besides my child's birth certificate, what other documents would you send as proof? Hi, Okay, Claudia. First question about the 40 credits. 40 credits seems to be very, very popular amongst the group members in that group. So, first thing is, careful about the 40 credits. Make sure you truly have them based on USCIS definitions, not based on Social Security definitions. Social Security kind of counts your credits before you truly earn them. So they credit you for credits for the entire year, even if we're still in January. So what does that mean? Go to the Social Security website, download your statement, your Social Security statement, and there on the second page, there's going to be a chart. That chart is going to have years and amounts. First thing you need to do is you need to be able to count 10 years. You need to go through the chart and see 10 rows. If you don't have 10 rows, you don't have 40 credits. If you do have 10 rows or more than 10 rows, next what you need to do is check the amounts on each of those rows. If all of those rows have an amount over $6,040, then you're golden. You're fine. You have your 40 credits. If any of them are under $6,040, then you need to double check the specific amount for that year to have earned the full 4 credits. You can always post your chart on our AOS webpage, and we'll be happy to help you figure it out. But again, if you have 10 years showing on the chart, so 10 rows, and all 10 rows show a Social Security earnings of over $6,040, then you're fine. You're good. You can use the 40 credits if you have the 40 credits, it means that instead of filing form I-864, you are instead going to file the exemption for that form, which is I-864W. And with that form, you're going to submit evidence that you have your 40 credits. You are going to submit the Social Security earnings statement that you get from the Social Security website. You are going to submit front and back, if you can, copies of all of your employment authorization documents from the very first one you got through DACA to the most recent one. And those are going to be your pieces of supporting evidence for the 864W. If you have that 864W, you don't need a sponsor. That's an exemption to needing a sponsor. So you're good there. And then I said this before, but if you're the mother, if a U.S. citizen is petitioning for their mother, then all they need to send is the birth certificate. That proves the relationship that they are your child or that you are their mother. It gets a little trickier when you are the parent, the father. If you are the father of a U.S. citizen, then you need to prove that you were married when the child was born, or that you did get married to the child's mother before the child turned 18. If you didn't get married before the child turned 18, or you never got married to the child's mother, then you need to show that you have maintained a relationship with that child, with your son or daughter. But if you are the mother of a U.S. citizen, all you need is that birth certificate and you're good. That's all you need to prove that they're your son or your daughter. So you're good with that. All right, let's see. Betty dice, muchas gracias. De nada, Betty. Gracias por estar aquí, por seguir nuestra página y por hacer sus preguntas. Daisy said Border Patrol. I'm sorry, nothing to worry about, nothing to apologize about. Okay, Border Patrol. I think, if my memory serves me right, I think you were the one that was describing that your boyfriend was detained by them. And I think I gave you a little bit of an explanation there as to what that situation is going to look like, depending on what that interaction looked like with Border Patrol. It could be a voluntary return. If that was the first ever entry attempt that he had, like he had never lived in the U.S. before that Border Patrol interaction, then he's good either way, because that's not an entry, that's an entry attempt, a voluntary return. He should be fine. And if there isn't record of that, it's fine either way. It's going to get a little trickier if he had been living in the U.S. before, left, and then got caught trying to re-enter. That's the situation. Yeah, definitely submit all the FOIAs. All the FOIAs. USCIS FOIA, CBP FOIA, OBIM FOIA, FBI FOIA. Submit them all and see what's on there. All right, let's see there. Gris Domínguez. Hola, ¿qué ocupo para que mi hijastro me ayude? Ahora que hice AP, mi esposo es un residente. Me dijeron que su hijo me puede ayudar. No más casados cuando él tenía 12 años. Ah, perfecto. Qué bueno escucharlo. Ok, so ustedes se casaron cuando su hijastro tenía 12 o menor de 18. Su hijastro es un ciudadano, supongo. Eso significa que su hijastro le puede patrocinar a usted como la madrastra. So, lo único que tiene que incluir como comprobante de la relación, o sea, de que él es elegible para patrocinar a usted, que es familiar, va a ser el certificado de nacimiento del hijastro para demostrar el papá, que el papá está ahí listado como el padre, y luego certificado de matrimonio de usted, entre usted y el papá del niño, para comprobar de que usted se casó cuando el niño estaba menor de 18. ¿Ok? Eso va a comprobar de que usted es la madrastra y de que él la puede patrocinar, la puede pedir a través del formulario 130, y lo resto va a ser normal como se hace cualquier ajuste de estatus. Eso va a ser lo único diferente para usted. Ok, seguimos aquí. Are there any workshops on how to request OBIM FOIA? Did we? No, we did not. But I did do a video guide workshop. It's on YouTube, of how to request CBP FOIA, I believe. And the OBIM one is exactly the same. The only difference is you have to get your fingerprints done first, and then you have to scan them, save them as like an image on your computer or a PDF so that you can attach them to the FOIA request. That's going to be the only difference between CBP and OBIM FOIA request. So go on our YouTube, look for FOIA workshop, or just go through our videos. It'll be there. And then follow the steps for the CBP FOIA once you have your fingerprints done and scanned as a PDF or as an image onto your computer. The only other step, like I said, you're going to do is you're going to attach those fingerprints to the OBIM FOIA. The other thing you're going to do, just to save yourself some time, is I'm going to be uploading a document that OBIM sometimes requests you to sign, where you're giving them authorization to run your fingerprints against their database. One of our group members let us know that they're requesting that now. So thank you to whoever that was. I don't remember, but she also sent me a copy of that document. So I'm going to be uploading it to our AOS group. And then feel free to grab that document, fill it out, sign it. It's basically just your name and stuff, and you sign it. And then you're going to attach that to that OBIM FOIA the same way you're going to attach the fingerprints. So that's the only difference. So technically there's a workshop. It's just not called OBIM FOIA. But go ahead and look that up and you'll be fine. All right. Wilmer, are your ears burning? Because I was just talking about you a little earlier. Hi, Wilmer. Glad to see you. I gotta see if we can do a live together one of these days, because between your experience with removal and adjustment of status, and then just general information that I can give out, I think we'll be able to tackle a lot of questions. Let's see. Aurora dice hello. Hi, Aurora. Thank you for tuning in. Happy to see you here. Okay, let's see. Rocío Martínez. Apliqué para Advance Parole. Nunca he salido del país. Mi tío sometió un paquete hace 16 años para pedirme a mí y a mi mamá. Solo tenemos número de recibo. Mi pregunta es, ¿tendría algún problema al reingresar al país con el Advance Parole? No va a tener ningún problema. Aplicó con Advance Parole, supongo que debajo de su DACA o a través de su DACA, o a través de TPS. No sé si a lo mejor tiene TPS, pero no va a tener ningún problema. Advance Parole es súper seguro. Literalmente usted puede chequear los lives que ha hecho el abogado Charles Cook y él nos avisa. Realmente no hay una persona que ha tenido problema con regresar con Advance Parole, a lo menos que fueron cosas como súper obvias, como por ejemplo se pasaron de la fecha, ¿verdad? A veces ocurre de que uno lee mal, o a veces el abogado no le da bien la información. Ellos le dan la fecha, ¿verdad? Usted tiene que regresar a los Estados Unidos antes de que se acabe la fecha que aparece en su permiso de viaje. So, no va a tener problemas ingresar si se pasó de la fecha. Esa es la manera más común que vemos gente que tiene problema con AP, va a ser porque se pasó la fecha. Es la razón más común. O sea, tener problemas con AP no es común, pero los pocos casos que hay son simplemente porque se pasaron la fecha, no porque realmente le negaron la entrada por el AP. Es porque ellos lamentablemente dejaron vencer su AP. La otra cosa que puede causar problemas son, por ejemplo, si usted está viajando y tiene cargos criminales pendientes, sea que los cargos criminales son de aquí de los Estados Unidos, o sean que los cargos criminales son de su país natal o cualquier otro país. Si usted tiene cargos criminales pendientes, va a tener problemas al reentrar con CPP. No viaje al extranjero si tiene cargos criminales pendientes. Si intenta de entrar o traficar drogas, personas, o cualquier tipo de cualquier cosa que no debería estar tratando de entrar al país, ahí también va a tener problemas, porque está haciendo algo que no debería, ¿verdad? Pero si usted está simplemente viajando con AP, salió al exterior, hizo lo que tenía que hacer, visitó a la persona que tenía que visitar, se portó bien, no tuvo ningún problema criminal con las autoridades en el país que visitó y no tiene nada aquí y no está tratando de hacer algo incorrecto como traer drogas o personas o otra cosa, entonces no va a tener problema con AP. No todas las aerolíneas o los empleados de las aerolíneas tienen experiencia con AP. Si es que la persona de la aerolínea le está haciendo un problema y le dicen, no, esto no es suficiente para que usted se pueda subir al avión, está bien, usted se calma respetuosamente, le pide de que si por favor puede chequear con su supervisor o que ellos llamen a un oficial de CBP en el aeropuerto para que le expliquen lo que es el AP. Usted también le puede explicar, mire, este es un documento de Advanced Parole, es un permiso de viaje que me la ha otorgado Inmigración de Estados Unidos, UCIS de Migración y CBP, que me permite entrar al país. No necesito una residencia, no necesito ser ciudadano porque tengo este permiso especial. Generalmente las veces que hemos visto que la gente nos dice que han tenido como no las mejores experiencias, han sido con los que trabajan en la aerolínea, que respetuosamente no tienen nada que ver. Ellos le tienen que dejar subirse al avión. Ellos no son lo que deciden si acaso usted va a entrar al país. Eso lo decide CBP. Y repito, gran mayoría, ningún aplicante de DACA ha tenido problema con AP, a lo menos que se pasó las fechas o tiene cargos criminales o está haciendo cosas que no deberían. Espero que eso le ayude, Rocío. No tenga miedo, no va a tener ningún problema. A ver aquí. Viviana dice, hola, yo tengo una pregunta. Me pidieron RFE, pero los doctores de aquí no me quieren dar quote por escrito for an endoscopy. ¿Qué hago? Vaya a otro doctor. Para cosas relacionadas, para cosas médicas, pidiendo AP para una razón médica, yo sugiero siempre, tiene que poner el trabajo, ¿verdad? Tiene que poner el esfuerzo. No deje de que una persona le diga no y ya me dijeron no voy a seguir, ya se dio por vencida. No haga eso, ¿verdad? Si le dicen que no, búsquese otro doctor. Acuérdese que al final del día lo que usted necesita para la cotización no es para hacerse el procedimiento aquí. No es que usted va a tener que pagar nada ni así. Usted simplemente llame a diferentes doctores. Falta de doctores en este país no hay, ¿ok? Llame diferentes doctores, doctores que trabajen con su seguro, doctores de clínica, busque doctores privados. Y les dice, mira, yo necesito una endoscopía y necesito demostrarle a mi trabajo, lo que sea, el costo y necesito que me den un breakdown del costo de una endoscopía. Y como le digo, no dese por vencido. Si usted llama a un lugar y no le dicen, no le podemos dar una cuota solo por teléfono. No, ¿sabes qué? Yo realmente necesito un documento diciendo el estimado de cuánto cuesta para entregarlo a mi trabajo. Y si le dicen que no, ok, gracias por su tiempo, cuelga, llama al siguiente lugar. Falta de doctores que hacen endoscopías no hay, tiene muchos lugares que puede llamar y no tiene que ser un lugar local, puede ser un lugar que está 1 hora, 2 horas, lo que importa, porque la realidad es que solo necesita el estimado. Síganle intentando nomás, es lo mejor que puede hacer. Y hágalo rápido, porque los RFEs tienen tiempo límite para responder. A ver, Emily dice, hola, buenas tardes. He visto las guías donde dicen que si queremos cambiar nuestro nombre, apellido de esposo, aplicar con ese apellido durante nuestro proceso de AOS y poner nuestro nombre de soltera, donde dice otros nombres usados. Hay formas que no tienen opción para poner nombres usados. ¿Cómo lo llenaríamos? Para los formularios que no tienen a dónde indicar otros nombres usados, simplemente los llena con su nombre casada, con su apellido de esposo. Creo que ese formulario que no tiene a dónde poner es el I-131 y el 864 y el I-693. El I-131 es para pedir el permiso de viaje. Ese creo que no tiene a dónde poner otros nombres usados, con ese no hay problema. Ellos van a ver, lo van a tramitar debajo del nombre que usted les dé. El I-864 y el I-693, eso no son peticiones, esas son documentos de apoyo, formularios de apoyo de la 485. Por eso es que no tienen esas cajitas para poner otros nombres, porque esos siempre van junto al 485. La información que usted pone en el 485 es la que vale, y ahí sí hay a donde poner otros nombres. Como le digo, el 864 y el 693 solo son formularios de apoyo de la 485. Pero sí, básicamente llénelo con su nombre de esposo de todos modos. Ahí va a estar bien, no hay problema. Ok, Miriam Love dice, nuestra situación, pero un attorney me dijo que yo ya no entraría en el paquete porque soy mayor de edad. María, no sé si se está refiriendo a una pregunta que a lo mejor hizo anterior, o Miriam, perdón, no sé si se está refiriendo a una pregunta que hizo anteriormente. No le entendí muy bien. Si quiere, me la puede hacer la pregunta otra vez, con un poquito más detalle, por favor. ¿Ves? Viviana ahí está también compartiendo su experiencia. No creo, porque hay gente que ha salido del país y ven con orden de deportación. Me encanta el Spanglish. No va a afectar eso si te dan AP. Tiene toda la razón, Viviana. Hemos tenido muchos miembros del grupo que han salido con AP, con orden de deportación abierta, con orden de deportación cerrada, con múltiples entradas, etcétera. No va a tener problemas simplemente por haber tenido una aplicación que alguien le llenó anteriormente, una petición. Lo recibieron. Buscando. Rocío, a su pregunta anterior. El paquete nunca progresó, solo lo recibieron. De todos modos, Rocío, no importa si el paquete progresó o no progresó, lo recibieron o no recibieron, lo están procesando aún, de todos modos no le afecta. Es irrelevante el estatus de esa petición, no le va a afectar para su AP. Mónica pregunta, for AOS, what if we have separate bank accounts? We have been married 10 years. His job deposits X amount of his paycheck directly to my account. Perfect. That's great. If you have separate bank accounts, well. I mean, if you have proof that you're transferring money to each other, that's great. In your case, you have proof that his job has been depositing part of his paycheck to your account. That's golden. He can also probably contact his payroll department in his job, or if he has it online, like through ADP, he can probably do a printout of where it shows how his paycheck gets split into two accounts. And then they'll see your bank statements, and then that screenshot or printout of his payments and how they get split, and they'll make the connection that his paychecks are being deposited in your account. That's not the biggest deal, though. Even if you don't have bank statements to turn in, there's plenty of other evidence that you can turn in. So don't think too hard about it. I always tell people, don't focus on what you don't have, just focus on what you do have. Reinaldo dice, organizaciones que tengan fondos para el renewal fee, please. Reinaldo, la organización que más ayuda con los costos de cualquier de proceso de migración es MAF, M-A-F de Francisco, que significa Mission Asset Fund. Ellos tienen, creo que aún tienen fondos, no estoy segura, pero ellos tienen un fondo de 50% préstamo, 50% ayuda, a donde le dan a usted de una vez un cheque para incluir con su paquete del renewal fee, y luego usted les tiene que repagar con un préstamo el 50% de eso. Por ejemplo, renewal fee son casi 500, ¿verdad? 495. Usted le tendría que reponer la diferencia, pagárselo de regreso a ellos, y se lo hacen en pagos razonables. Use MAF, búsquelo, Mission Asset Fund en Google, lo va a encontrar, llene la aplicación. y no tarde en renovar por esa razón. Si usted también busque ayuda de su consulado especial, no sé si de qué país usted, pero sé que el consulado mexicano también ayuda a los miembros, a los mexicanos con el renewal fee de DACA. Si está usted en universidad, hay varias universidades que tienen ayuda, pero MAF es el que más reconozco. No me acuerdo muy bien otras organizaciones que ayudan con el costo. MAF es el que siempre yo recomiendo. A ver, aquí tenemos Alfonso. Hi, Alfonso. Natalie Uribe Robledo, the GOAT. Oh, thank you. I appreciate it. I really appreciate you guys and your kind words. It's very motivating. Just out here trying to help with whatever way we can. That's how Dreamers Together is. We just want to help you guys out, help out the community with whatever we can with the experience and the information that we have. But thank you, Alfonso. It's great to see you. And I'm hoping that we get some approval from you soon. Get that green card to you. Keep me updated. Make sure as soon as you know, you post it in the group so we can celebrate with you, okay? All right, let's see. María, muchas gracias por la información y por toda la ayuda que nos dan en este grupo. Dios les bendiga con mucha más información y bendiciones para que nos sigan apoyando. Gracias, María. Sí, eso es lo que más queremos, seguir ayudándoles a ustedes de cualquier manera que podamos expandir. Estamos tratando de expandir, conseguir más voluntarios que puedan dedicar su tiempo para ayudar a la comunidad. Pero gracias por sus palabras y sus emojis. A ver aquí. Pregunta, si una persona entró con visa y tiene la tarjeta blanca de la entrada y está casado con un ciudadano, pero tiene un misdemeanor y no tiene DACA, ¿puede hacer AOS? Depende del misdemeanor, pero generalmente sí. No hay problema. Si entró con visa, creo que la tarjetita blanca que se refiere es el I-94, el I-94, solo que es el papel y no la versión de línea. Eso es una entrada legal. Si usted tiene una entrada legal y está casado con un ciudadano y no tiene otra razón por cual sería descalificada, no tienen que tener DACA para pedir ajuste de estatus. Con tan solo tener la entrada legal y tener o un hijo ciudadano mayor de 21 o hija, o un cónyuge, un esposo o esposa ciudadano, entonces usted puede aplicar para la AOS. Para lo del misdemeanor, tenemos que saber qué tipo de misdemeanor tiene, o sea, qué fue. Si no se siente cómoda de compartirlo aquí, está bien. Siempre lo puede mandar en un correo electrónico. Pero generalmente los misdemeanors también se los perdonan si fueron cosas leves y los misdemeanors casi siempre fueron leves. Pero sí va a tener que admitir de que tuvo misdemeanor y tiene que adjuntar todos los documentos de que usted tiene de la corte, o sea, de que dice los cargos criminales y cuál fue el resultado del caso de la corte. No teman aplicar por ajuste de estatus si tienen algún tipo de historial criminal con que no sea severo. Ellos perdonan cosas pequeñas y especialmente cosas que ocurrieron si uno era menor de edad. Solo depende de lo que tiene y tiene que obviamente entregar esa información, esa evidencia. Chelly, what's the processing times now for AOS? Oh, the golden question. Processing times for AOS. Okay, national average is still about 12 to 18 months. Okay, that's national average. But are we seeing faster adjudication? Most definitely. We are seeing a lot of cases being adjudicated under 9 months. We're seeing cases as fast as 60 days, 2 months, from the date that they accept the AOS application to the date that they get the approval notification of the 485. We have some cases that are under 60 days in our group. I can speak from personal experience. I recently submitted adjustment of status for both of my parents. My sister is a U.S. citizen, and they entered the country with a B2 visa. And so my sister petitioned for them, and they were both approved start to finish in 120 days, which is 4 months. I did not expect them to get adjudicated that fast. I had mentally prepared them to wait a whole year. I told them, hey, if you get your work permit within 3 months, you're good, you're lucky. Um, but they got their whole green card in 120 days. It's crazy, right? I submitted their application on January 23rd. They had their biometrics appointment on February 22nd. They had their biometrics appointment in the morning, like at 8 in the morning. I was at work, and in the middle of the workday at around like 4 p.m., I had gotten a notification that their work permit had been approved. So they got their biometrics in the morning, and their work permit was approved in the afternoon. And then their work permit took like a week or so to come through the mail. And then again, that their work permit took literally 30 days to get approved, and then 3 months after that, so 44 months total, their 485s got approved, and now both of my parents have their green cards, which is a huge relief to me. But just goes to show that cases are being adjudicated super fast right now. Interviews are being waived left and right. So if you are eligible for AOS, now is the time. File yourself, file with a lawyer. Just make sure you're keeping them accountable, or file with us. We have AOS preparation services now, and they're very one-on-one. They're very tailored. We go as fast as you go. So as fast as you get the documents that we asked from you and you answer the questions and provide the information we request from you, that's as fast as we can prepare the AOS application for you. So we do offer full AOS preparation now, but we also offer free guides and free templates and free cover letters and free answering your questions. And we're in the middle of creating free video guides as well. So don't feel like you have to pay for anything. All of this information is free on our group. We answer your questions consistently in a group. Group members will answer and chime in and answer questions, so you can totally prepare your AOS packet yourself. And I like to empower people to do it themselves as well. So get started on it. Don't delay. A ver. We have Isabel. ¿Cuánto tiempo se está tardando para ser aprobado con el Advance Parole ahorita? Ya había aplicado antes. Isabel, ahorita mismo están aprobando a las personas de abril. Creo que estaba viendo las fechas de abril. So, se están demorando entre 3 a 4 meses para aprobar los Advance Paroles. Apliquen ya, porque una de las cosas que mucha gente no sabe, y le voy a explicar un poquito, le voy a dar un poquito de información interna de UCIS. UCIS tiene su año fiscal, y el año fiscal de UCIS es de octubre hasta septiembre. Lo que ocurre con UCIS es que mientras ellos se acercan a esa fecha a donde termina el año fiscal, tienden a enfocarse en otros tipos de aplicaciones que tienen que ver con número de visas que se tienen que usar, porque UCIS tiene un límite de visas que ellos pueden aprobar al año. Entonces, cuando ellos están llegando a esa fecha que termina el año, tratan de hacer todo lo posible de usar todas las visas que tienen para no gastar una visa. A veces, mientras estamos acercándonos a octubre, ellos tienden a agarrar su staff, sus empleados, y hacer que se enfoquen en esas aplicaciones y no tanto en otras aplicaciones. Pero hay staff que solamente trabaja cosas de AP. Entonces, trate de aplicar luego, para que así no esté esperando más de 3 o 4 meses. Aparte de eso, estamos entrando al segundo parte del año a donde hay varias fechas feriadas, varios holidays, y obviamente UCIS es una agencia de gobierno y no van a estar trabajando y están cerrados durante las fechas feriadas. So, trate de someter su aplicación lo más pronto posible. A ver aquí. Gracias. De nada, de nada. A ver acá. Rayo, siempre veo sus preguntas y sus posts y usted parece que es mi experta de las citas del consulado. Siempre brinda esa información en el grupo, se lo agradezco. A ver aquí. Y tengo cita con Brian. Para este sábado, le aviso. Porque sé que siempre usted está enojo con su hijo. A ver aquí. Una pregunta, mi hijo vive con nosotros, sus padres, y él está haciendo su AOS, pero no le entiende acerca del 864, él no tiene los 10 años trabajando, él necesitaría un sponsor. Rayo, si esta pregunta es para Brian, yo le voy a ayudar el sábado. No se me preocupe. Tiene cita conmigo, personalmente, él tiene cita conmigo el sábado. Y yo le voy a ayudar con eso para él. Pero a ver aquí. Con nosotros padres y él está haciendo eso, pero no le entiendo. ¿Quién le está pidiendo a su hijo? Creo que es su esposa, ¿verdad? Si su esposa trabaja, entonces, bueno, usamos el ingreso de ella. Yo sé que Brian tiene DACA y tiene su trabajo. Entonces, si ella no gana lo suficiente o no está trabajando, podemos hacer combinación de ingresos. Le estoy respondiendo para otra gente que tenga la situación similar, ¿verdad? Puede hacer combinación de ingreso y él usar su ingreso para demostrar el ingreso adecuado. Y peor caso, siempre puede agarrar un joint sponsor, que sería cualquier persona que tiene estatus migratorio de residente o de ciudadano que le hace el favor de llenar esa aplicación y demostrar que tiene los ingresos adecuados. Espero que se le ayude, Rayo. Gracias. De nada, Isabel. A ver aquí. Rayo otra vez. Mi esposo no tiene documentos, él no podría ser su sponsor o necesitaría mi hijo juntar sus ingresos con los de su esposa, pero tal vez ella no tiene también los 10 años trabajando, o ya depende de la cantidad de ingreso que sea de los contaría. Creo que ya le respondí una pregunta, perdón que no vi la segunda parte. Pero sí, si Brian está trabajando y la esposa de él está trabajando, si entre los dos ganan lo suficiente para poder demostrarle un ingreso adecuado, simplemente hacen una combinación de ingresos. Brian tiene DACA o él tiene un permiso de trabajo, que significa que él puede combinar el ingreso con su pareja. Y si no tienen suficiente, simplemente sería buscar un joint sponsor. No puede ser su esposo porque su esposo no tiene documentos y los joint sponsors tienen que ser un residente, un ciudadano o un nacional de los Estados Unidos. A ver aquí. Aguilar Angie dice, submitted AOS por medio de mi hijo ciudadano. Tengo mi entrada legal por medio del Advance Parole. Mi PD, March 29, 2023. 31 de marzo, mi 485 está actively reviewed. El 31 de marzo, mis biometrics están reviews. Is the time frame right? I'm still waiting. Sí, Angie, su timeline está bien. Generalmente le aviso a mi gente, ¿verdad? Cuando usted está aplicando para Adjustment of Status, va a haber bastante movimiento en el principio. Va a ver que sus biometrics o se van a rehusar o que le van a hacer una cita. Al momento que usted haga su cita de biometrics o si es que se lo están rehusando, inmediatamente va a ver que el 485, casi siempre, no siempre, pero casi siempre, va a ver que el 485 va a cambiar a actively reviewed or actively reviewing. Eso no significa que viene luego la aprobación de la residencia. Lo que sí a veces es indicación de que viene luego a la residencia o la aprobación es cuando usted ve que el 130 se lo ponen en actively reviewing. Ahora, no es el caso con todos, pero sí es algo que estamos viendo frecuentemente, de que cuando el 130 se marca actively reviewing, generalmente relativamente luego lo aprueban y luego rapidito aprueban el 485 también. Pero, como le digo, en el principio es relativamente rápido. Se ve el biometrics, se ve el actively reviewing del 485 y desde ahí es que empieza la espera, como la espera más larga. Usted aplicó en marzo, su PD es marzo 29, está bien a tiempo, o sea, solamente han pasado 4 meses. creo. Estoy contando bien. Sí, 4 meses. Y como le dije, national average son 12 a 18 meses, pero sí estamos viendo que hay gente que se está aprobando debajo de menos de 9 meses. So, está bien a tiempo, no se me preocupe, hay que tener un poquito de paciencia. Yo sé que es difícil, yo sé, pero hemos estado en este país tantos años, falta tan poquito, estamos al final. So, hay que tener un poquito más de paciencia. Pero no se me preocupe, está bien a tiempo. A ver. Claudia, thank you so much. Appreciate your time and wisdom. Thank you, Claudia, for your kind words. I appreciate you guys tuning in. I appreciate all the questions you guys make. I'm always happy to help you guys. Let's see here. Jackie says, I'll make sure to make the name change ASAP on the cashier's check. One more question. What address should I use as they require to provide an address for the check? I use the address to the file. So if I was to send in my case, I'm in Texas. Yes, that's exactly where you're going to do, Jackie. You're going to use the address that you're sending your AOS packet to. So if you go on the USCIS website or you Google direct filing address 485 and you click on the USCIS link, it's like a chart, has to do with what state you live in and then what postal service you're using. If you're using the US Postal Service, which is what I always use, then it's that P.O. Box address. And then if you're using a private courier like UPS or FedEx, it's that other address. But yes, if you're sending your packet to Texas, that's the same address that you should put on the cashier's check. Let's see. I'm going to take a little drink before I start coughing everywhere again because that was embarrassing. Ok. A ver. Rayo, todas las preguntas hoy, Rayo. Gracias. A ver, otra pregunta. Mi cuñada no es Dreamer, no alcanzó a aplicar por la edad, pero se casó y tuvo violencia doméstica. Ay, qué lástima. Y se separó de su esposo y le ayudaron a aplicar por VAWA. Y ayer recibió su permiso de trabajo y su seguro social. Y ella quisiera saber si ella puede aplicar para Advanced Parole. ¿Podrá? Rayo, permíteme. Dije que iba a tomar para que no me pasara esto. Y me pasó igual. Perdón. Ok. Le aplicaron para VAWA. So, esto es lo diferente con VAWA. El VAWA es la aplicación I-360. Uy, me estoy acordando bien los números. Creo que sí. I-360. Con el VAWA es el I-360. Cuando le aprueban el VAWA, le dan un permiso de trabajo. Pero también hay a veces que uno somete el I-360 conjunto con el 485, que es el ajuste. Y ahí también le dan un permiso de trabajo, solo que debajo del código de ajuste y no el código de VAWA. Si a ella ya le aprobaron el VAWA, hágale que chequee si acaso es el 360 que le aprobaron y si ya tiene tramitando el 485. Si ya tiene tramitando el 485, no sé quién le ayudó, una abogada a lo mejor, la abogada o el abogado debería haber sometido una aplicación de AP con el 485. Si aún no ha aplicado el 485, más le vale aplicar y someter un 131 con esa aplicación, porque le darían un permiso de viaje debajo de su AOS, de su ajuste de estatus. So, todo depende de en qué etapa está ella. Mary Gutiérrez dice, si entré con AP cuando mi hija cumpla 21, ¿cuánto tarda para el ajuste de estatus y tendré entrevista? No supiera decirle, porque la realidad es que las políticas de inmigración y de UCIS cambian cada vez que hay un cambio de administración, o sea, de presidente. Obviamente, si seguimos con un presidente, y esto no es por hablar política, ¿verdad? Pero pues, si seguimos con un presidente generalmente demócrata, que no es tan anti-inmigrante como un republicano, por ejemplo, como un Trump o como un Ron DeSantis. Entonces, la administración o las cabeceras de UCIS van a mantener una política relativamente relajada y no le hacen la vida a cuadritos a todos los que están aplicando. Y tratan de ajustar los casos rápidos y de no pedir entrevistas, ¿verdad? Eso es lo que está pasando ahorita. Estamos viendo muchas aplicaciones adjudicadas rápidas y muchas aplicaciones a donde no están pidiendo entrevista. Pero no significa que va a ser así siempre. Para mi gente que sí puede aplicar AOS ahora, háganlo ahora. Para mi gente que sigue esperando, todo va a depender de la administración que tengamos en poder en el momento que usted está aplicando para el ajuste de estatus. Con eso, lo que le puedo dar como sugerencia es, nosotros no podemos votar, pero lo que sí podemos hacer es educar y a la gente que sí puede votar y presionar a la gente que sí puede votar de que hagan su responsabilidad civil de votar en este país. No tan solo las elecciones presidenciales, pero también las elecciones locales, porque todos que nos gustaría tener una reforma migratoria, ¿verdad? Porque aunque a lo mejor los de DACA tienen su manera de ajustar a través de una pareja después de AP, la mayoría de los inmigrantes en este país no tienen ese privilegio. Entonces, para todos nos gustaría, yo creo, tener una reforma migratoria para nuestra gente y nuestro pueblo, nuestra comunidad. Y la única manera de hacer eso es de tener que el Congreso pase una ley de reforma migratoria. ¿Y cómo es que se pone la gente en el Congreso? Es con las elecciones locales. O sea, las elecciones locales mucha gente no le pone atención, no le ponen la atención que deberían tener. Si nosotros haríamos el trabajo de ser voluntarios con organizaciones que tienen que ver con registrar votantes y con educar a los votantes y ayudar y presionar que los votantes vayan y hagan su responsabilidad civil de votar y educar sobre los candidatos para que voten a gente en poder de que nos ayuda y que acepta la comunidad inmigrante, vamos a poder tener un Congreso con la mayoría que va a poder apoyar una ley de una reforma migratoria. No es algo que yo creo que va a estar pasando luego porque tenemos en poder ahorita en el Congreso, no tenemos la mayoría que necesitamos, pero la única manera de llegar a ese punto es de hacer el trabajo con las elecciones locales. Yo sé que eso no es información de ajuste de estatus, pero le digo eso porque yo he hecho bastante trabajo voluntario aquí en el área donde yo vivo, en los estados a donde he sido activa en tratar de ayudar a hacer cambios y las elecciones locales hacen bastante diferencia. Miren a Florida, ¿ok? Miren lo que está pasando en Florida. ¿Qué es lo que está pasando en Florida? Tienen a un hombre en poder, Ron DeSantis, de que está pasando leyes anti-inmigrantes, haciéndole las vidas difíciles a los inmigrantes. ¿Por qué? Porque él quiere demostrar que está duro contra los inmigrantes para ganarse la elección del republicano para para la presidencia, ¿verdad? Porque él tiene el poder, porque la gente de Florida lo votó para que él tuviera el poder, porque la gente que a veces debería votar no lo hacen. ¿Qué tenemos que hacer? Nuestro trabajo, poner nuestro granito de arena para cambiar las cosas en nuestro país. Aunque no seamos residentes, aunque no seamos ciudadanos, es nuestro país. No podemos votar, pero tenemos que hacer lo posible para que otras personas voten y nos representen en esa votación. Ahí ya terminó mi TED Talk de votar. A ver, ¿dónde está aquí? Ohana Lily dice, hola, ¿haría alguna diferencia del pago si uno ya tiene el I-130 aprobado? Del pago a UCI, sí. Si usted ya tiene un 130 aprobado y está activo, o sea que el NVC no se le ha anulado si es que estaba haciendo el proceso consular, entonces no tiene que aplicar nuevamente para el 130, que significa que se ahorra esos $535 que se le pagan a UCIs. Solamente va a tener que pagar por el ajuste, que son $1,225. Sí, hay una diferencia de pago. Con el servicio. Se me fue la otra porción de la pregunta. Con el servicio con ustedes. Sí, Lili, hay una diferencia también. Si usted hace poquito tuvo una consulta con nosotros, cuando le enviemos el invoice, ahí va a salir la diferencia porque ya tiene la 130 aprobada. Pero eso solamente nuevamente si su 130 está activa y se puede usar para el ajuste. Si usted necesita un nuevo 130, vamos a tener que llenar y aplicar por eso otra vez. Todo depende de su caso. No sé si usted ya tuvo una consulta con nosotros, con nuestro equipo. Si es que sí, envíenos un email si es que no lo ha hecho aún, y denos como 24 horas, 48 horas para responderle. Somos un equipo, pero sí, obviamente tenemos que tomar nuestro tiempo respondiendo los emails. Envíe algo ahí y le vamos a responder con más detalle. Hi again, Alfonso. A ver acá. Ya estamos casi llegando al fin de las preguntas y creo que no hay muchos de ustedes todavía en la línea, pero hagan sus preguntas si es que tienen, porque ya pronto voy a parar, porque me estoy dando cuenta que ya llevo casi 2 horas. Son las 11 a donde yo vivo, so ya me tengo que ir a acostar porque me toca trabajar en la mañana. A ver, Gloria García dice, double entry 6 years and 17 years in 1989 and 2000. In 2000, voluntary return, misrepresentation/fraud. Will I have issues using AP? How about AOS? Any waivers available? Gloria, will you have issues with AP? No, you shouldn't have any issues with AP. Double entries. I actually don't even think you have a double entry as like the double entry that triggers a permanent bar, based on the information that you're providing. So really quick, if you're still on, Gloria, try to give me responses to these questions that I'm about to ask you. So you said double entry 6 years and 17 years. I'm assuming that's your age, that you came in at 6 years old and then you came in again at 17 years old. What I need to know is what year did you leave the US? I know you came in in 1989, then somewhere in between there you left, and then you came back in 2000. I need to know when you left, so that we can determine if you triggered a permanent bar. Because I see that you said in 2000 you got a voluntary return, which means that there's a record of you attempting to re-enter the US. So all depends on when you left the US to see if that voluntary return in 2000 is going to trigger that permanent bar, because it's a record of you coming back in after having been in the US. That's one thing. The misrepresentation and fraud. What was it for? There's trickiness there, right? Were was it misrepresentation and fraud? Like, what kind of documents did you provide, or what did you say that caused you to be labeled with misrepresentation/fraud? That's really important. I'll tell you one thing. If you presented any documents that insinuated that you were a U.S. citizen, or if you told verbally the U.S. CIS officer, the CBP officer, any kind of Immigration Department of Homeland Security related officer, that you are a U.S. citizen and you're not, there is not a waiver for that. You will not be able to adjust status. Will you be able to travel with AP? Yeah, for sure. You'll be fine. Will you be able to adjust status? No. That's like the unforgivable thing that you can do in immigration is a false claim to U.S. citizenship. So if it was U.S. citizenship documents, like a U.S. birth certificate, a U.S. passport that's not yours, and you presented that, doesn't matter if you were underage, it's still a false claim to U.S. citizenship. There's not really a waiver for that that's going to help, but the AP is still doable. So if you feel comfortable submitting that information on here, you can if you're still here. And if not, then you can reach out to Charles Cook and do a consult with him. He's very straight up, and he will tell you if you are eligible for AOS or not. He will tell you if you triggered a permanent bar or not. If you give me the information, I will tell you the same. So here we go. A ver. Franny Imnida dice, my parents need a sponsor to start their AOS. Do they need to be a U.S. citizen? When you say sponsor, do you mean like a financial sponsor for the income requirements part of AOS, the I-864 form? Or are you referring to like a petitioner? Like they need someone to petition for them. You're saying my parents. So if you are a US citizen or any of your siblings are US citizens and they're 21 or over, then they can be the petitioner for the parents. And that's who the sponsor would be, the petitioner. If what you're saying is that the petitioner that they do have, like the child that's petitioning for them, doesn't have a job or doesn't earn enough income to show that they can financially, support your parents, then you're going to need a joint sponsor for the 864. Joint sponsors must be U.S. citizens, legal permanent residents, or U.S. nationals. Anyone. Doesn't have to be someone that's related to you, doesn't have to be someone that lives in the same state as you. Anyone that is a U.S. citizen, a U.S. national, or a legal permanent resident, so they have a green card, can serve as a joint sponsor for someone else. They just need to be willing to provide you the documents to back it up. So documents of their status, their taxes, and then documents of their income, and sign that paper. That's it. Next question here. Jose Sanchez, I'm confused. Is AP only for emergencies? Because I'll be seeing people on the Facebook group applying and then going on vacations after being accepted. AP is not only for emergencies. Is it for vacations? No. But are you maybe assuming that they only went on vacation? Possibly. Let me tell you something. You have to provide a valid, documented reason to get your AP approved under DACA. So these people you may be saying that are like posting pictures of their vacation, they're, if you're going to travel abroad for a valid reason, you might as well take advantage of the fact that you're there and visit other family members, explore maybe your country that you haven't been to in decades, and then you're going to post about it. I mean, it's social media. People on social media are always going to post the fun times, the good times. You can't assume that these people are not going for the reason that they said that they are, and we should always be applying for a valid, honest reason. But from personal experience, friends, family members that have traveled on AP, I mean, I have a friend that's traveling on AP to take their recently deceased family member's body back to their home country to get interred with their other grandparent that passed away years before. Are they going to post about it on social media? Probably not. That's very personal. That's private. It's probably very sad for them and their family. So the likelihood of them, making a post, traveled on AP. Here's pictures of, me carrying my grandparents' ashes. Here's pictures of my family, crying emotionally about, the situation. They're not going to post that. So just because you don't see it doesn't mean it doesn't happen. But is that same person going to maybe take advantage of the fact that they're back in their home country and they can now visit family members they haven't seen 10, 20, 30 years maybe? Maybe want to explore and learn about a country that they left when they were young and don't feel connected to, and they really want to get out there and enjoy the fact that they're abroad, something that most of us haven't been able to do for the 10, 20, 30 years that we've been in the States. Of course they're going to do that. and they're going to be excited about it. I would be excited. I haven't gone back to my home country since I came here at the age of 2. I would love to go back to Chile, and I would love to explore up and down my country, different parts. I have a bucket list of places in Chile that I want to explore and learn about and see and experience. Um, and I'm going to post about it if I go, because I want to share that experience with other people. I want to share that excitement and that happiness. But that doesn't mean that I didn't go for a valid reason if I do go. So just, we never really know the full story. So don't always assume that just because people are posting good times and happy times and them having fun and, being happy and maybe like at a party or enjoying their time, that they didn't go for a valid reason. And for everyone else out there, don't apply for a reason that isn't valid, because that's what advanced parole is for. I mean, find your reason. There's plenty of reasons to apply for advanced parole. Find your reason, apply, take advantage of the fact that we have this privilege. Many undocumented individuals in this country wish that they had the privilege to travel abroad, to get that legal entry, and then put themselves on a pathway to a green card and to citizenship. So AP is not for emergencies only. It can be for many, many reasons: humanitarian reasons, educational reasons, work-related reasons. We've seen people where their companies send them out on conferences abroad, and they go. We've seen people that do study abroad tied to their colleges, and they get advanced parole. We've seen people do missionary work abroad, and they go. We have a travel abroad program where we have cultural exchange, and we do charity work with the community and organizations in the countries that we travel to. So many people in our own group applied for advanced parole through our travel abroad program, through the community work that we're going to do during that travel abroad program. And it's a valid reason. If it wasn't, they wouldn't have gotten the AP approved by USCIS, right? So it's not just for emergencies. You just got to find your reason. Jackie, you are the best. Go. Thank you for all the help, the comment responses on the FP page and videos. Thank you, Jackie. Again, I really appreciate your guys' kind words. You really, you make it worthwhile, all the time and effort that me and the volunteers and staff put into helping you guys, providing the information. So thank you so much. I appreciate it. All right, let's see. Rayo, aquí está. Muchas gracias, Natalie, por su tiempo y ayudar a todos los soñadores. Dios te bendiga en todo tiempo. Y mi hijo Brian ya está listo para el sábado, primeramente Dios. Sí, entonces sí es su hijo Brian, ¿verdad? Que es mi cita para el sábado. Ok, perfecto. Yo estoy feliz para poder ayudarle, para que él ya pueda finalizar su aplicación y enviarla a UCIS y empezar la espera para su residencia. Gracias también, Grayo, por sus bendiciones y por sus palabras cariñosas. Es lo que hacemos aquí en Dreamers Together, es para tratar de ayudar a la comunidad y a ustedes. A ver aquí. Se me vence mi permiso en enero. ¿Puedo pedir el advance parole ahora y renovar en octubre? Jorge, le recomiendo... A ver, estamos a 4 meses. Significa que si usted aplica ahorita y se demora justo 4 meses, se la estarían aprobando en noviembre. Yo recomiendo que aplique para la renovación primero. Estamos cerquita si es que le aprueban el advance parole, va a estar bien, bien, bien cerquita de la fecha que se le está acabando su permiso de trabajo. Siempre le vamos a recomendar primero vaya, aplique a la renovación del DACA. Acuérdese que eso lo puede hacer 5 meses antes, 150 días, que significa que ya puede estar aplicando para eso en este mes de agosto que está entrando. Aplique para su renovación en agosto, hágalo en línea para que sea fácil. Tenemos un video en YouTube que hizo Eli, la queen de TikTok. Hizo Eli para poder guiarle en cómo renovar en línea. Renueve su DACA ahorita lo más pronto posible, y más pronto le aprueben la renovación, puede someter la aplicación para Advanced Parole. ¿Ok? Pero le recomiendo que renueve su permiso ahora y no espere hasta octubre. A ver. Gloria. Yes, I left in 2000 for a day and returned the next day. Oh, no. Okay, Gloria. Dang it. You left in 2000. Unlawful presence. Lawful presence became a thing in the United States starting in April of 1997. Once you have accumulated 365 days of unlawful status or unlawful presence, and you leave the U.S. and then you re-enter the U.S. Without inspection, you trigger a permanent bar. So I'm very, very, very sorry to have to tell you that you did trigger a permanent bar when you left in 2000, even though you only left for a day. You did technically trigger a permanent bar. Now the question is going to be, is there a record of that trigger? You did tell me that you got stopped and you got a voluntary return, which means that there is a record of you attempting to re-enter the United States. So unfortunately, I hate having to give bad news. Unfortunately, with a permanent bar, you would not be able to adjust status. You wouldn't be able to adjust status. You've triggered a permanent bar, and there's a very, very high likelihood that CBP has records of that because of your voluntary return, because of that, misrepresentation fraud that you had on there. So I really do apologize about that. But I think one of the few things that does forgive a permanent bar is an application for U visa, a visa U, or a visa T, which sucks because in order to be eligible for a visa U or a visa T, that means that something negative happened to you, that you had to experience a negative situation. But keep that in mind. Como decimos, Dios no lo quiera. But if something ever happens and you do become eligible for a U visa or a T visa, know that does have a waiver for the permanent bar. I'm sorry. I wish I could tell you better news. I mean, the the silver lining to all of this is that you can still keep traveling on AP as many times as you want, as many times as you can apply for, that you have a reason for. This will have no effect on your AP, but you unfortunately would be ineligible for adjustment of status at this time. Nicolas dice, send my RFE I-864 on July 13, 2023. Now what's next? Now you just have to wait, Nicolas. You have to wait for them to, they'll receive your RFE and they'll process it, and then they'll keep processing or adjudicating your case like they would have if you had never gotten an RFE. So now it's just a wait game. All right. Gloria, thank you so much. God bless you. You're welcome, Gloria. I wish I had better news for you, but I'm just happy to have been able to answer your question at least. Pero fui y me dijeron que era muy luego. Quería pedir mi Advance Pro para diciembre, es la otra pregunta que tiene Jorge. ¿Fue a dónde? Porque me dice, pero fui, me dijeron que era muy luego. ¿A dónde fue, Jorge? ¿Fue a un abogado? ¿Fue a una organización comunitaria que le está ayudando a aplicar? Hay abogados, hay organizaciones que no le van a someter una renovación si usted está antes de los 150 días. No sé por qué. la verdad que yo no entiendo por qué ellos lo hacen, porque la realidad es que si usted somete su renovación de DACA antes de los 150 días, realmente no hay ningún efecto negativo. Generalmente lo que UCIS hace es que ellos reciben su aplicación y como que si la tienen pendiente, la trabajan igual. La trabajan igual y luego cuando usted ya llegue a los 150 días antes de la expiración o de la renovación, empiezan a adjudicar y procesar la aprobación. Le digo por experiencia propia, ¿verdad? Yo, cuando estuvo todo este problema um, del programa de DACA, cuando fue a la Corte Suprema la primera vez, a mí me tocaba renovar bueno, tenía como 10 meses aún en mi permiso de trabajo de DACA. Y yo sabía que esto iba a ir a la Corte Suprema y yo tenía una idea que cuándo era que la Corte Suprema iba a tomar el caso. Entonces yo tomé la decisión de enviar una renovación casi un año antes de que se me expiraba el DACA. Porque yo quería asegurarme de que si algo llegara a pasar y llegaran a cancelar el programa de DACA, esto fue hace tiempecito, cuando DACA se había ido ya a la Corte Suprema, yo quería asegurarme que si el DACA lo llegaran a cancelar, mi aplicación de renovación ya estaba dentro de UCIS. Su aplicación, si está dentro de UCIS, la tienen que adjudicar, la tienen que procesar. No tienen otra opción porque ya le tomaron su dinero. Yo hice eso para poder ganar como una renovación más en caso que cancelaran el programa. Bueno, no cancelaron el programa, ¿verdad? Todos sabemos. ¿Qué es lo que pasó con mi aplicación de renovación? UCI simplemente la procesó y luego la paró. La dejó ahí pendiente y el momento que mi renovación o que mi fecha de vencimiento llegó cerca de los 150 días, la aprobaron. So, mi renovación estuvo pendiente como 10 meses porque renové mucho antes y luego simplemente la aprobaron cuando ya estaba cerca de los 150 días. So, no hay razón por cual no le debería decir un abogado o una organización de que no le van a ayudar a renovar su DACA. Hágalo usted mismo. No necesita usar una organización, no necesita usar un abogado. Tenemos una guía en YouTube. Búsquela en YouTube, Dreamers Together. DACA, renovación de DACA, DACA Renewal que hizo Eli y le dice paso por paso cómo renovar su DACA en línea en el sitio de web de UCIS. Si usted no se siente cómodo someter su renovación, Dreamers Together también tiene citas para ayudarle a renovar su DACA. ¿Ok? Pero si usted puede renovar antes de los 150 días, no es necesario esperar. So, hágalo ahorita para que así le aprueben la renovación antes y ya pueda aplicar para su Advance Parole. Ok, últimas preguntitas que tengo aquí. A ver, Eduardo Martínez, can I do AOS if I have 2 attempts of entry? I already have legal entry with AP. I'm married to a U.S. citizen. Eduardo, we need a little more information to be able to give you a straight answer. I need to know what dates those entries were, and if you left the U.S., what date did you leave the U.S.? If both of those entries, 2 attempts of entries, if both of them were like for example, if you had never lived in the US ever and you did an attempt, they caught you and turned you back around, sent you back, and then like a day or two later you tried again and then you did successfully come into the US, that's not a double entry. That's not going to affect you for AOS. But if it was that you lived in the US, like you came in, however it is that you came in the first time you came in, you lived in the US for at least a year without status, and then you left the US, and then you try to come in again without inspection, that could trigger a permanent bar depending on the dates. So if you're still here on the live, provide the dates of your entries and your exits if there was an exit, and I'll be able to let you know. And if you're not here anymore and you see this later, post it on our AOS group and we'll be able to help you out with those details. Oh my God, I'm over 2 hours. Okay, these are the last 2 questions that I see on here. So actually the last single question, and then I'm going to sign off, guys. Okay, Leslie dice, hi, would you use I-864 instead of I-864W instead of I-864 if your husband exceeds the 2023 property guidelines? No, You wouldn't. I-864W is if you have your 40 Social Security credits with 10 working years that are valid. That's what you use 864W for. If his income exceeds the poverty guidelines for 2023, he would still just use the regular 864. I just made a YouTube video guide for the I-864. So do me a favor, because the I-864 is the one form that gives everyone the most trouble, and is the one that causes the most RFEs. So go on our YouTube channel, search up I-864 video guide or something like that. I-864 Dreamers Together. You'll find it. And follow the guide on there, the video guide, and I provide a decent amount of information on there. So try to see if that helps you out. Jorge Ruiz. Ok, gracias. De nada, Jorge. Renueve luego y luego someta su AP cuando se lo aprueben. Okay, I think that is all the questions that I have for everyone. Oh, wait. No, Eduardo. My attempts were in 99, and I have never left the U.S. So it sounds like it's what I was explaining, which is you had never been, and correct me if I'm wrong, Eduardo, please, or confirm. You had never been in the U.S. before those attempts in 99. If you had never been in the U.S. before those two attempts, then you're fine. You're golden. All that means is that you tried to come in, and before you officially entered, the U.S. Border Patrol saw you. It's called a catch and release, a voluntary return, a throwback, a turnaround is what's commonly called. Basically, they caught you and said, Eduardo, turn around, go back. You're not allowed in. That is an entry attempt, not an actual entry. Because you had never been in the States prior to those entry attempts, they do not count against you. You are okay to do AP. Actually, you said you already have AP. You're okay to do AOS. It's not a problem. This wouldn't be a problem for AOS at all. Again, and this is for anyone out there that's listening, if you're in a similar situation, if you have never, ever lived in the US and then you try to enter without inspection, you get caught. And of course, they tell you no, go back. And then even if it's the next day, you try again and you enter, that's not going to be held against you. You did not trigger a permanent bar. That's not what people call a double entry. You're fine. Actually, you guys want to hear something funny? You can have tried every single day for a whole month and gotten caught every single day for a whole month. As long as all of those were turnarounds where they were just like, nope, not going to happen. Maybe they take your fingerprints and then they send you right back. All of those are voluntary returns. All of those are turnbacks or turnarounds. None of those count towards triggering the permanent bar because you had not been in the U.S. And did not accumulate the 365 days, which are a requirement to trigger that permanent bar. So you're good there. It gets a little trickier if you had been in the U.S. Gets a little trickier if you were given an expedited removal instead of voluntary return. For that one, you would have been given a whole bunch of paperwork and they would have made you sign stuff and they would have explained to you that you are barred or banned from entering again for like 3 or 5 years. If that's a situation, that's a little trickier. But if it's just entry attempts, you're good. They don't count against you. It's not a permanent bar. Permanent bar is not as simple as people think. People sometimes will be like, oh, you have a double entry, you're permanently barred. No, it has to do with dates. The dates are really important for a permanent bar. Has to do with dates and has to do with how much time you spent in the U.S. And then, of course, how it is that you entered and things like that. So, if you have that situation, post in the group page with the details that I just asked Eduardo for. We can't help you unless you provide those details. So you need to provide the details of all of your entries and all of your exits, and then we'll be able to kind of give you an idea about whether you triggered a permanent bar or not. But that is all that I have for everyone today. It is late. I've been on here for almost 2.5 hours, so I hope that all the information was useful. I know this was like a very last-minute impromptu live. I'm going to see if I can make these a regular thing, late night lives with Natalie, because I'm a night owl, and I feel like my people over in California sometimes miss a lot of our lives because they're earlier in the day. So if you enjoyed the live, if it was helpful, if my people in California or over on the West Coast appreciated a later live, please let me know. You can, post a comment, or you can post on our page. If you do have any other questions, or you want us to do a live on a specific topic, let me know, and I'll be sure to make some time in my schedule to do so. But thank you, everybody, for joining. Thank you for your questions. Gracias a todos por sus preguntas, por ser parte de Dreamers Together y nuestro grupo. Hope you all have a good night. Take care. Rest easy. And tomorrow's Friday. So, yay, Friday. All right. Take care, everybody. Bye.